Hey there everybody, this is Mr. Lewis. This video is all about how to use slabs and a mold to produce one of your projects required for this lesson. First we need to plan out our project. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm sketching out the size and shape of the bowl that I'd like to use. I'm also adding some texture. I've kind of picked out my texture tool. It's a rolling pin. So I'm drawing those details on there. I'm also going to add a sprig mold using the sprig mold for feet, and I'm drawing all those details and labeling them right there. Looks pretty good. Don't forget, we're going to need some very specific tools. You can find most of the tools that you need next to the filing cabinet, and inside the filing cabinet we got the molds right next to it, up above as well. For these slab projects, you get to pick what kind of clay you use. You can use either the red brick road like I'm doing right now, or the winter wind clay. Just depends on what you want your project to look like. Right there I've got my purple 3/8 inch guide sticks, and I'm starting to roll my slab. I wanted to grab my mold to make sure that the slab that I roll is large enough for the desired size of my bowl. Now I'm simply stretching the clay in multiple directions, flipping it over and turning it 90 degrees so that I can make sure that it is wide enough and long enough to make a substantial bowl. As soon as I've got my clay flattened to the thickness that I desire and the size that I desire, I'm going to make sure that it also fits on the mold, just like that. And once I decide that it's enough clay, I'm going to start compressing lightly all the way around, making sure that the clay slab starts to take the shape of the mold itself. Remember, we don't want to flatten the clay any more than it already is. We want to make sure that we're using the most of it that we can. If there is any extra hanging off the side, make sure you use a fettling knife or some other blade tool to trim the extra off the side of the mold. If I want to make the bowl look really nice, I'll use a banding wheel, put the mold on top, and then hold my fettling knife in one spot while I spin the clay and cut away the extra. You'll notice that the edge of my bowl is now very even and pretty clean. If there are any textures that I'd like to take care of, I can use a wet sponge and smooth out any of those textures, kind of blending the clay together a little bit. And then if I really want to go the extra step to make my bowl nice and smooth, I can use a flat part of a rib. It looks pretty nice. Now here I'm going to use my texture roller. It's on that kind of rolling pin that I talked about. And what I noticed while I was doing this was that because I was putting pressure on the clay, it started to stretch it a little bit. So I modified my plan and gave it a little spout. This is going to be a bowl that I make pancake batter with, and then I can pour it out. I don't want to take my clay off the mold while it's still really plastic and soft, so I hit it with the hairdryer for a little bit before I started to think about what kind of foot I wanted to use. I decided to use the sprig mold for various designs for the feet. I'm preparing 3 similar sized balls of clay so that I've got about the same amount, and here I am going to push that ball of clay down into the sprig mold. I try to trim away the extra clay so that I'm left with just the shape that I want to keep, right there. Now I need to make 2 more of those. When I'm ready to attach all 3 feet, I'm going to grab a scoring tool, some slip, and a paintbrush to apply that slip. I'm deciding where I would like to put my feet in relationship to the spout, so that's why I'm taking my time doing this. I sped up the video to make it seem a little bit faster, but here I am just applying the scoring marks, applying slip to both my feet and the location that I'm sticking them, and then being really careful. I recommend, to get the most craftsmanship points possible, that you really take your time when you're adding a sprig mold, making sure that that clay that you add to the surface looks really nice, smooth, and like it's been a part of the project the entire time. Once you're completely done building your molded form and adding your details, don't forget to make sure that it's leather hard before you take it off the mold. That can really affect the success of your project. Thanks for watching, guys.